Alright guys, Touch over here, back again today. Yeah, this weekend was a pretty long one. Hope you guys enjoyed the content I made over the last couple of days. Today, to discuss the things that I've missed being away this weekend, and hopefully go over some things that you guys may not be aware of. A couple of things regarding the names for the franchise teams we're going to get next season. A lot of rumours we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. A few more have come out over the last couple of days. Also wanted to discuss Censor, and, well, he says that he has signed somewhere for a franchise team. Seems to be pretty excited about it. We'll go into that in the coming minutes here. Whether it's as a starting spot, I highly doubt it, but I think he'll be some sort of substitute if he indeed is telling the truth. And I see no real reason why he would be lying. So let's hop right into it here. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always. Firstly, a couple of things that Atomic CoD points out to me here. So Brafizi says he's a free agent. I've heard a lot of things lately about people, you know, who maybe we would expect to be getting a spot on franchise teams, not being able to get this spot, and obviously Brafizi hasn't managed to secure anything yet. Same thing here for Emery's, right? And there's guys like Tommy, Shawnee, you know, players of a similar caliber to this that apparently aren't getting reached out to, which is disappointing for sure. But I guess that is how it is really with franchising coming around. Just to mention this from the 4th of October, Scump and Form all these tweets back and forth here. Of course, these guys got along very well back in the past, the legendary TGP duo, and of course, the rumor is that these guys are going to be teaming together on the Chicago team, owned by NRG, Hector involved, Scump, Formor, Arcetes, Gunless, and Envoy is the rumor team right now. Let's go on to this then, related to the names of what these teams are going to be called. So, London Call of Duty, effectively, what this tweet implies is, the brand reveal is going to be on the 15th of October. So for you guys who are in the States, in the UK, we do our numbering system the other way around. So this is the 15th of October rather than the 10th of whatever the 15th month would be, right? So that's about 9 days from now, they're going to be doing some sort of reveal. And when we look at this picture pretty closely, obviously you can tell who these players are. If you want to pause the video and guess, a little bit of a fun game for you. Probably not particularly fun. Anyway, we've got Jurge, this is Wuskin, Scraps, Dylan, and Rated, of course. You can tell by Dylan's glasses. And if you zoom in on Dylan's chest here, you see this logo. Now, the rumour surrounding what this team was going to be called is the London Ravens. This is clearly some sort of bird thing going on. I know that Ravens are related to London to some degree because the Tower of London, where loads of people have been like executed and stuff in the past, where they used to keep like high profile prisoners or something, there's some folklore surrounding ravens and around that, so there's some sort of connection here. Not exactly sure what this image is. We can try and zoom in, but we're not getting too much more better detail than that. So that's what we have for now, but that could back up this this assertion. Also, thanks to Carl B for pointing this out to me, the London Ravens, there is a Twitter account right now at London Ravens, 0 following 0 followers. Don't know whether this is going to be used. It's a protected account, but who knows? Joined September 2019, so a recent account being made. Maybe it looks like it's in preparation to be used here for this London spot, right? So keep that in mind. Then, moving on to this, New York City, heard it will be called the Subliners. The Subliners? I actually don't know how to pronounce this and what it even means, to be honest. But anyway, that's the rumour at the current time from Bayern and Fitch, UK Esports Reporter of the Year. New York I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. You guys leave how it's meant to be pronounced down below. Like, Dublin is, you know, Dubliners? Subliners? I don't know, maybe that's what I'm going for. Anyway, New York, this is supposedly what it could look like. Anyway, weird, whatever. Now, the interesting thing, of course, is when you look at this account here, we see the Call of Duty logo. It just says COD, obviously followed by a lot of people since this tweet. But interestingly, when you look through the followers, thanks to Meta for pointing this out to me, this is honestly a pretty good spot. Looking through the people who follow this account, Michael Sepso is one of them, co-founder of MLG, but he is now very much working with the New York spot because we've seen him congratulating Zuma and Attach and whatever when they did join New York when it was announced last week. And yes, the fact that he follows this account, maybe it means something. Right, that's at least something that we can dig into. So Adam Fitch goes on here to talk about the COD Paris. Owners of Paris Eternal, Contact Gaming appears to own a domain for Paris Legion. Now, I quite like this name. Legion is good. I'm not so sure right now about the other names, but the Legion I kind of like. Be interested to hear your thoughts on which names for teams that you prefer at the current time. So yeah, that's the rumour for the Paris spot and also for the New York spot. Let's move on then here to this thing related to Censor. Censor says his announcement is not franchise related, so we did talk about this posted before I left for the weekend that Censor had an announcement around the corner that he was prepping for and he was really excited about. We know Censor, he's super excited all the time, T. Martin style, right? So yes, he says this announcement was not franchise related. The announcement has since happened. We'll go on to that in just a second. But he does in this video also talk about franchising. He can't say anything, but, you know, look at the body language.
I agree. Listen, this announcement that I'm making is not about Call of Duty franchising. I made that clear. But what I can tell you guys about Call of Duty franchising is that that's all. I can't say anything. I can't say anything. I've learned my lesson the hard way in the past. I can't say anything about that. Just be patient. That's all I got to say. Just be patient. I'm excited.
So yes, he's since done a tweet to confirm what he's talking about here. Anyway, this is what the actual announcement was. Drink Control, a meal replacement shake catered to real life. Censor is a co-owner of this company. Now, thought this is pretty interesting. Don't want to do any unnecessary advertising, but, you know, thought it was pretty cool. This is the big announcement that Censor was talking about. And then he comes out with the following just yesterday. Officially signed my pro CoD contract. Let's go. Now, you know, 12,000 likes. Where is Censor going? Where's he going to end up? Of course, there are some rumors surrounding this. I think it's quite likely he might be going to New York. I know that that's, he's talked in videos that is his dream spot. At the same time, though, Bance has been talked about being linked to New York, and that's the rumor that him being a substitute over on that New York team. I'm making this New York stuff related to Censor up, but I know he did say that that would be like his preferred place. Maybe he's overgassing this. He said he was really excited. I imagine he's going to say he's really excited wherever he signed, even if it's somewhere he didn't particularly want to sign. But of course, the interesting part is he going to be an actual substitute? Because he said pro CoD contract, I guess professional CoD contract. Professional doesn't necessarily mean as a player, because I'm just thinking here that maybe Censor could be some sort of content creator for some of these teams, which would kind of make sense. At the same time, he is still with FaZe, right? So if you're with FaZe, you know, can you really be joining another organization and doing content stuff for them? Like, I'm not exactly sure that's how he'd want to work it or how they would want to work it or whatever. But he could be a player for another team and still be part of FaZe, because that's happened a lot recently, right, with some of these FaZe guys. So where do you guys think he'll end up? I highly doubt he's going to be on a starting roster. That would be incredible if he managed to finesse his way to that. But I do think on the bench, it makes a lot of sense, because I said this a long time ago, right? Guys like Censor and people of his caliber are, if they want to get a franchise spot, I don't think they're going to have any issues getting at least on the bench, because pretty much a lot of organizations just coming into Call of Duty, they know that Doug has a huge fan base behind him and has a lot of resources, and just get him on the substitute bench, even if you don't play him, maybe, let's say, towards the latter half of the season or whenever you're playing a match that maybe isn't so important, you sub him in, you do a bit of PR thing around it, right? Censor's a valuable asset to have. Of course, he's also valuable in terms of what you're going to have to pay to get his services on your team, because I think that Censor, probably a few teams would have liked to have him on their bench just because of the fan base factor, right? So I think Censor has probably had a few offers here or there, whether maybe he's gone for the offer which gives him the best chance of being on a starting roster. So, for example, you could look at some of the teams that have the lesser talent in terms of, I don't know, Paris or Florida to some degree, even though Florida maybe is an underdog kind of team, but, you know, you look at that Florida team, you're seeing Morks, Pristini, Havoc, Frosty, Skies, I think is the squad. So you think about that team and you're thinking, maybe Censor's thinking, well, there's a better chance I get on a starting roster here than if I go and be a substitute for, I don't know, Chicago or something. Not like they'd want him anyway, but regardless, you know, there's no point going over there when you've got Envoy, RZD's Gunless, you know, Scump and Formal, and there's no chance you're going to be on a starting roster. So maybe that's something that Censor has been considering here. Be interested to hear your thoughts, of course, down below as always. Just as the last couple of things to mention here before we finish the video, then the Florida Mutineers is another rumor, owned of course by Misfits, so just talking about Florida there. As always, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this down below. But yeah, it seems like this could be some kind of logo that's going on. I'm not exactly sure where he's pulled this from, but the link is here. I will leave this, of course, linked down below. This copyright, of course, based in Florida, as you can see right here. So this apparently is the rumor. It was filed for the name today. It's esports related, but he can't find any connection to Misfits, says Intel Call of Duty. So interesting, to be honest. The fact that it was filed today maybe implies something, and if this is the graphic representation they're going for, what I am aware of, I believe, is that the Activision guys, Activision Blizzard, decide what logo shapes you can decide to use, right? They give you like some pre-made logo designs, and then you can fill them out with whatever colors you want, or maybe you have to choose from a color palette or whatever, but I'm not sure out of those designs that I may have seen, this was one of the designs, as in, you know, the outline shape rather than the actual design. But on the whole, I do kind of like it, right? It's pretty cool. I kind of like the idea of mutineers. It kind of has relations to the Buccaneers. But maybe that's not related to Misfits at all, because as Kroenke here says. So just the last thing, let's have a look through the unconfirmed and possible franchise names. The London Ravens we've looked at, the Toronto Ultra is rumoured, the Los Angeles Guerrillas is rumoured, which is the one, you know, the other one, not the one owned by Immortals OpTic Gaming, which is rumoured to be called Los Angeles OpTic. Just to reiterate again, if you guys I'm not quite sure how it's going here, the reason why the OpTic name can stay in Call of Duty is because it has left all other esports, and OpTic is going to be solely CoD, which means that when the Immortals, or when or if, whatever, the Immortals want to sell on their Los Angeles OpTic brand to a new ownership group, then there won't be any remainders of the old OpTic brand still lying around. It doesn't have any additional meaning, right? Because you wouldn't want a team owned by OpTic, called OpTic, and then they could sell it on to someone else and still be using their brand, right? Anyway, these are the rumours then. The Dallas Empire, the Florida Mutineers, the Paris Legion, Los Angeles OpTic, the Ravens, and these are a couple of the logos. Interesting little kind of squirrel design going on here in Toronto. But of course, announcements on this front will be coming very, very soon indeed. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be back again tomorrow with more stuff. If anything happens, we'll have to see how it goes. Thanks for watching as always. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you next time.
You got to show me what.
Bill! These things in the air, bro! It's going on! What? What? You know the vibes! Oh my god! Who wants to scream? It's a Revo!